Welcome. We are in Senior English B, and we're going to now take a look at two poems of some really important modern poets. The first text we're going to work with is on page 1407, and this text is called On the Patio. So let's take a look at this one. Peter Redgrove is our poet here. All right. And we're going to look at this poem, and then we're going to look at the poem Not Waving But Drowning, Stevie Smith's poem. All right. About both of these poems, let's make a couple of quick observations. They both use images of water. You want to write this down. They both use images of water, but in strikingly different ways. Okay? For example, On the Patio uses the image of the poet draining a glass and allowing the thunderstorm to refill it as a symbol of a person willing to be open to nature and its bounty, someone who wants to get the most out of life, we might say. What Thoreau called suck the marrow out of life, right? Okay? Someone who wants to get the most out of life by draining life's glass, coming back for a refill. Remember that Tennyson will say in Ulysses that he wants to drink life to the lees, right, all the way. Okay. Not Waving But Drowning, however, uses water differently as that drowning of a person as a symbol of coldness and isolation that will have plagued him all his life, finally led to his death. So we're going to look at water from two different perspectives. Let's start with On the Patio first. All right, so here we go. Just follow. What is the symbolism of water here?
By Peter Redgrove. A wine glass overflowing with thunder water stands out on the drumming steel table among the outcries of the downpour feathering chairs and re-thundering on the awnings. How the pellets of water shooting miles fly into the glass of swirl and slop, over the table's scales of rust shining like chained sores, because the rain eats everything except the glass of spinning water that is clear down here, but purple with rumbling depths above, and this cloud is transferring its might into a glass, in which thunder and lightning come to rest. The cloud crushed into a glass. Suddenly, I dart out into the patio, snatch the bright glass up and drain it, bang it back down on the thundery steel table for a refill.
It's an interesting word picture. Just at level one, summarize real quickly what he does. So it's a wine glass sitting out on a patio. Thunderstorm comes, fills up the empty wine glass. He runs out. What's he do? What's he do? He drinks it, right? He completely drains the wine glass, then he slams it back down so that the rain can fill it up again. Symbolically, how does this poem work in terms of the notion of finding new life? How does it work? See, jot that one down. How does that work? It's a symbol, isn't it, right? The rain, the water of the rain is like a symbol, isn't it? It like helps, doesn't it? It like helps the speaker to find new life. Water as rebirth. We'll now turn to the next poem on 1408. This is Stevie Smith's poem, Not Waving But Drowning. This is a very, very popular poem. I want you to study this one. We're going to take a look at now, how is water different in this poem? So jot that one down on your annotations. How was water different in this one?
Not waving, but drowning, cries Stevie Smith. Nobody heard him, the dead man, but still he lay moaning. I was much further out than you thought, and not waving, but drowning. Poor chap, he always loved larking, and now he's dead. It must have been too cold for him. His heart gave way, they said. Oh, no. It was too cold, always. Still the dead one lay moaning. I was much too far out all my life, and not waving, but
Now this is an amazing little poem because it's going to work as a powerful symbol. Let's make sure we get the first picture and then we can talk about the implied picture. So you see somebody out there swimming and they're doing one of these. Hey, hey, hey. And you go, hey, great to see you out there swimming. Awesome. Right? Oh, look. Swimming. They're swimming. Awesome. Right? And the guy's like, no, hey. Oh, hey, good to see you. Great. Hope you enjoy the water out there. Have a nice day. And then what happens to the person? Drowns, dies. The irony is what? Well, you thought the person was waving at you going, hi, how's everything going? What was actually happening was what? Right, the person was calling for help, needed help, and because didn't get the help, dies. Now that's the literal. Let's talk about the implied meaning of this poem. Do you think it's possible that this morning at Worland High School, you asked somebody, how's it going? And they said, great, everything's great, it's all great. But they weren't actually waving. They were actually drowning. Do you think this is possible? Do you think it's possible there are students at Worland High School who speak to you and you think that what they're saying is, everything is awesome, dude, when the truth of the matter is, what they're actually saying is, I need help. I need somebody to tell me that it's going to be okay. Not waving, not saying, hey, everything's great, but actually drowning. What does this poem say about often our inability to understand what other people are really going through? Jot it down in your notes. What does this poem say about that? The ways in which we sometimes misinterpret. Do you think it's possible that some of the saddest people in this building act like they're the happiest? Do you think that's possible? So, for example, always smiling, always joking, loves to be the life of the party, everyone enjoys all the joking, but right behind all of that, right, it's a facade. What's the word facade mean? What's that mean? It's a mask. It's a persona. It's a mask. It's not real. They're not happy at all. They don't look happy at all. I remember a student once saying, this was so true. In high school, there was this girl, and she always seemed like she had everything. She had wealth. She was one of the populars. Everyone knew her. She was this amazing athlete. And she said, I always assumed that of all the people in this building, at least her life, together. It's like if I could have switched places with anybody, it would have been with her. And then she said, ironically, we became friends. And I just said off the cuff once, well, yeah, but you got life so easy. Look, everything goes your way. And the girl started to explain to her, I have like the worst life imaginable. And then started kind of going through all of the crappy stuff at home. And while she came from a family of money, the mom and dad didn't like each other, and the dad was messing around, and there was drug use, and it was terrible. She said, the girl telling the story said, I was totally blown away. Now this poem speaks directly to it. That friend of mine, she said, she was never waving. She was drowning. And nobody could tell. Nobody knew. Hey. Oh yeah, it's great. It's good to see you. Of course, think of it this way, finally at 3B. Think of the way we often will ask people, how's it going, without really wanting an answer. Right? Think of it. Hey, how's it going? Great, Scott. What would it be like if you said, how's it going? And somebody said, I'm going to really tell you. Whoa, dude, I don't need to know. I got my own life to have to do. 3A, remember? We had a little poem about this, didn't we? The fall of Icarus out of the sky. Remember that one? Right? We have a tendency to not so quickly relate to and have compassion for other people's pain because we got our own pain, right? We got our own pain. Of course, what's most disturbing about this poem, one more comment, is that the person drowning could have been saved. But nobody figured out that the person was drowning. Right? Waving out in the water back to the people on shore. Right? Hey. Oh, awesome. Of the two poems They both deal with water. Jot down what's fascinating about the different views of water. In the first poem on the patio, water is what? It's kind of redemptive, isn't it, right? It gives birth. It gives life. It's good. It's a positive symbol. What's water in the second poem? It does, doesn't it? It is how you drown. Literally, what could we mean by that symbol of water in drowning? How do people drown, metaphorically speaking? How can students at Orland High School be drowning? We don't mean in water. What do we mean in? Drowning in their lives, their life of maybe pain or grief, right? If you had a friend who said, I'm drowning, how do you respond to that? What's the best way to respond to that? Maybe ready to quit and give up. What's the best way to respond to that? Yeah, throw a lifeline. It's a good way to say it. It's a good way to say it. All right.